The Man in the Hoodie series title, The Time He Gave Back, an original 6-part motivational saga, inspired by a single moment of snap judgment and the ripple of compassion. That follows. Quick note on length: you asked for even more unique and lengthy. I pushed well past 3K words for the narrative and made the transcript a full mini-script. You can paste straight into a teleprompter. If you'd like an exact word count breakdown or trimming, let me know. 1 prologue, a clock without hands. There's a tiny, dignified clock that sits in the corner of Horology House, a flagship luxury watch boutique on Rodeo Drive. Every morning at 9:05, the staff wind it with a silver key the size of a paperclip. It's pure showmanship because the little clock doesn't even have hands. It's meant to remind clients that time is nothing until we give it meaning. Irony, as you'll soon see, has a mean curveball. 2. The man behind the glass. Elliot Pierce, 31, assistant manager, wore his suit like a suit of armor. The navy will never wrinkled. His Windsor knot had NASA-grade symmetry, and he'd memorized the exact height to raise his eyebrows for categories of clients: casual browsers, corporate whales, tourists with credit, and celebrities who pretend they don't need help. In 8 years of retail battlefield, Elliot had honed the fine art of judging a wallet by its cover. He considered it a survival skill. You minimize the chit-chat, you maximize commission, you rise. That Wednesday morning, a gentle June breeze swept through Rodeo, carrying the usual perfume of hibiscus, ambition, and overheated asphalt. Elliot unlocked the front door at precisely 9:57 a.m. and performed his ritual. Lights, scent diffusers set to subtle cedar, and the tick-tick-tick soundtrack piped through hidden speakers. Recordings of real turbulent movements, the store's version of spa music. 3 minutes past opening, Elliot noticed the first customer, a woman in a linen jumpsuit, iPad in hand, probably running errands for a film producer. He flashed a subdued smile, number 3 on his smile chart, approachable but non-clingy, and angled toward her until he saw him. 3. The Man in the Hoodie. At first glance, the figure at the door looked like a misplaced extra from a neo-noir thriller: black hoodie, worn jeans, unkempt stubble, and scuffed boots that might have walked across continents. The hood shadowed most of his face. He paused at the threshold, as though the boutique's polished marble floor might burn him. Elliot's training kicked in. Risk assessment. Could be a harmless fan, could be paparazzi bait, could be a shoplifter. The boutique's insurance premium flashed before his eyes. The linen jumpsuit client suddenly looked like the safer bet. The hooded man raised a hand in greeting, slow, polite. Elliot saw a half-hidden profile, strong jaw, faint scar on the chin, eyes that carried more miles than the boots. Something about him tugged at recognition, but the suit of armor stayed on. Elliot intercepted him 5 steps in. "Sir, may I help you?" "I hope so," the man answered, voice low, almost shy. "I'm, looking for a gift. For yourself. For someone who's saved me more times than he knows." The corners of the man's mouth twitched, half smile, half memory. Elliot's gaze swept the hoodie again. No visible designer labels, frayed cuff, low spending probability, screamed his commission-trained subconscious. He straightened, deploying. Smile number 1, apology in advance. "I'm terribly sorry," he said, "but we have a dress code policy for our premium showroom. Might I suggest our online catalog instead?" The man blinked, surprised, then gave a small nod. "Sure, I didn't realize. Thanks for your time. Have a wonderful day, sir." Elliot guided him gently toward the exit. His fingers brushed the man's sleeve and registered softened denim, well-worn, well-loved. The boutique door clicked shut. A gust of guilt, or maybe the cedar diffuser, made Elliot cough. He turned back to linen jumpsuit, now filming a TikTok, and resumed the curated dance of affordable luxury. Outside, the man in the hoodie slid on sunglasses, glanced once at the gleaming Horology House sign, and walked away without haste or anger, just a lingering sadness, like a melody cut mid-note. 4. The outside witness. Across the street, a weather-beaten army field jacket leaned against a newspaper stand. Darius D.J. Jameson, 64, Gulf War vet turned street poet, had been reciting sonnets to passing tourists for spare change. He saw everything, the hooded stranger entering, the suit escorting him out, the look on the stranger's face as he walked away. DJ recognized that look. He'd worn it after his hometown shut the factory, after the VA lost his paperwork, after the buddies he served with were names on folded flags. It was the look of someone who just realized the world graded worthiness on superficial skin codes. To shake it off, DJ opened a weather-stained notebook and scribbled, "Judgment is a doorman, turning pockets inside out, but kindness is the key nobody checks." He didn't know yet that those lines would one day be carved into bronze. 5. The 15 minutes of regret. 30 minutes later, Elliot's phone buzzed. Text from his younger sister. "Oh my God, Elliot. Is that Keanu outside your store?" Attached photo. The hooded man removing sunglasses to sign a kid's skateboard. Elliot's spine froze. Keanu Reeves, the superstar who rides the subway, buys ice cream for crews, and quietly funds children's hospitals. The man he'd just kicked out for wearing a hoodie. Then came BuzzFeed pings. Keanu Reeves shopping on rodeo in disguise, with photos stamped just down the block. The watch boutique's signage lingered in the background like an accessory to embarrassment. Elliot's world tilted. He imagined tomorrow's headline, "Luxury store turns away Hollywood's nicest guy." He pictured review bombs, TikToks, memes, maybe even a trending hashtag. Hashtag no time for Keanu. His heart hammered against his suit of armor, threatening to crack it. 6. The other boutique. Meanwhile, Keanu, because yes, it was absolutely him, stepped quietly into Chronopulse, Horology House's fiercest competitor, 2 blocks away. Chronopulse prided itself on democratized luxury. Translation: they treated every sneaker and sandal like a potential CEO. A sales associate named Minna welcomed Keanu with zero side eye. 20 minutes later, Minna walked him through a private door carrying a walnut box that cost more than Elliot's yearly rent. Keanu left the store with the box under his arm and a handwritten thank you from Minna tucked in his hoodie pocket. When paparazzi yelled questions, he smiled softly, shook a few hands, and walked back toward Horology House. 7. The second encounter. Cliffhanger. Elliot was pacing near the crystal showcase of moon phase complications when the lobby bell tinkled. He looked up and felt the floor slide under him. Keanu stood in the doorway, hoodie unzipped now to reveal a charcoal t-shirt. He still carried that walnut box. Every head turned. Linen jumpsuit. Gasped. The store security camera's red LED blinked like a nervous pulse. Elliot stepped forward, words clawing up his throat. Apologies, explanations, anything but. Keanu's gaze slipped over him. Not hostile, just focused elsewhere. Keanu walked past Elliot, past the $65,000 skeletonized tourbillon, past the handless clock, the one that needs meaning. He stopped inches from the entrance display and set the walnut box on the velvet mat. Then he opened it. Inside, under velvet, gleamed a limited edition platinum chronograph, 1 of 10 in the world. Keanu looked at Elliot for the first time, kindness and gravity mixing in those dark eyes. "I heard you have a veteran discount," he said quietly. Elliot's mouth opened. No sound. Keanu smiled almost apologetically. "There's a man outside who served. This belongs to him. I just need you to size the bracelet." Gasps fluttered around the boutique. Linen jumpsuit nearly dropped her iPad, and Elliot, heartbeat ricocheting, realized this was not a revenge cameo. It was something infinitely heavier. And so part 1 ends not with a slammed door, but with an open box and an impossible kindness looming like sunrise through bulletproof glass. The regret, the time he gave back. Missed part 1. Jump back to the man in the hoodie for the inciting moment when an overeager salesman shooed Keanu Reeves out of Horology House. Narrative 1. A store that smelled like panic. 5 minutes after Keanu placed that platinum chronograph on the velvet mat, Horology House no longer smelled of subtle cedar. It reeked of fresh panic. Elliot Pierce could swear he heard every gear in every showcase watch grinding to a halt, as if the boutique's heartbeat sensed to his own spiraling pulse. He swallowed words, those reliable, commission-oiled syllables fled like pigeons. At a gunshot, customers stopped pretending to browse and stared openly at the unfolding drama. Linen jumpsuit. Woman inhaled so hard her sunglasses fogged. A tourist couple whispered, "Is that John Wick?" The handless display clock kept not time with perfect uselessness. Keanu broke the silence first. Voice gentle as rainfall. "Sir, do you size in house, or do I need an appointment?" Appointment. The word tugged Elliot back into his body. He launched into autopilot, tone smooth, eyes wide. "Of course, Mr. Reeves, right this way." He tried to gesture, but his hand twitched like an unplugged animatronic. A dull throb behind his temples told him the worst headache of his life was inbound. At a 5 minutes, 2 backroom reverie. A fitting lounge of Horology House was a cathedral of velvet and indirect lighting. Elliot's mentor used to say the room was designed to make clients feel like they had already bought something priceless. The moment they sat down, today, it felt like a confessional booth. Keanu took the leather chair, set the watch on a suede pad, and waited. Elliot fumbled with a sizing kit, nearly dropping the spring bar tool. His usual patter watch should hug, never strangle came out as an embarrassed squeak. Silence stretched. Elliot finally blurted, "Mr. Reeves, Keanu raised a calming palm. "Please, call me Keanu, and let's make this about the watch and the gentleman outside." His eyes softened. "We can talk later, if you wish, if you wish." The words felt like mercy offered to the condemned. Elliot nodded, throat thick, and measured the bracelet links. With trembling calipers, 3, DJ at the door outside. Dryas DJ Jameson tapped his cane anxiously. Keanu had told him to wait just a minute, he was fixing a surprise. DJ still didn't know the hoodie man was a movie star. He just thought the stranger had kind eyes and a weird talent for making people stare. A passerby pressed a $5 bill into DJ's palm, whispering, "Thank you for your service." DJ wanted to say, "For my poetry or my platoon?" But instead he tucked the bill into his notebook and doodled a haiku. "Kindness in velvet. Walks past golden barricades. Time. Grows new hands now." He looked at the boutique Fawade. Through the glass he could see the assistant manager sweating bullets, resizing destiny. For the apology that wouldn't come out sizing finished, Keanu lifted the chronograph, inspected the butterfly clasp, and oddly turned the watch so Elliot could read the caseback inscription, "Time saved my life, DJ." The words blurred as Elliot's eyes welled. Finally, the dam broke. "I should never have turned you away," he whispered. "I don't know what to say that isn't pathetic." Keanu slid the watch into its box. "Start with the truth. The truth is I judge the package, not the person." "Why?" Elliot's shoulders sagged. "Fear. Quotas. Wanting to look in control. Pick your poison." Keanu nodded. "Then let's give fear a different job. Help me change someone's day." Elliot blinked. "How walk outside with me," Keanu said, "and hand this gift to the veteran yourself." Elliot's stomach did a somersault. The idea of facing the man he'd considered invisible seconds earlier felt both terrifying and necessary. He wiped his palms on his suit pants, earning his first ever wrinkled lap. 5. The presentation. He stepped onto Rodeo's sun-splashed sidewalk. Shoppers froze. Cell phones ascended like electronic sunflowers. DJ straightened at the sight of Keanu and the trembling salesman. Keanu crouched at DJ's eye level. "Mr. Jameson," he said, "I was told you never miss sunrise. That means you deserve a watch that refuses to miss a second." He motioned for Elliot, hands shaking. Elliot opened the walnut box. Platinum glinted, flashes of paparazzi bulbs bounced off it in starbursts. "For me," DJ whispered. Keanu nodded. "A gift and a thank you for serving all of us." DJ's weather-carved face crumpled. "Son, I haven't been thanked in 20 years. "Well," Keanu smiled, "we're 87 million minutes late, but we can still be on time." 6. The crowd reaction. Apples thundered. Linen jumpsuit woman burst into tears. A little boy tugged his mother's sleeve and said, "When I grow up, I want to give cool stuff to grandpas." Elliot looked at DJ's shining eyes, then at Keanu's calm grin, and something fractured in him, something armored and anxious. For the first time in years, he felt small in a good way, humble, human. He took a breath, then spoke loudly enough for the phones to capture. "Horology House will be honoring all veterans with lifetime complimentary servicing and a permanent discount. Effective immediately. A ripple of gasps, then cheers. DJ saluted clumsily with the cane. Tears dripping onto the platinum dial. Elliot's cheeks burned. But this time the heat felt like sunlight, not shame. 7. The fallout within 2 hours. Hashtag time for heroes trended. Worldwide. A local journalist live-streamed the entire encounter. National morning shows replayed the clip before lunch. Horology House's corporate HQ lit up Elliot's phone with alternating fury and praise brand fiasco or PR miracle. It was both, and the board would have words. But Elliot didn't care about the board. He cared about the look on DJ's face, pure wonder, a man reacquainted with dignity. And he cared about Keanu's final words before disappearing into a waiting Prius, not limo. Prius, remember, Elliot. Judgment is cheap, regret is expensive. Kindness is priceless. Elliot stood on the curb long after the Prius rolled away, replaying the moment like film grain in his head. For once, the ticking in his ears wasn't pressure, it was possibility. 8. Night shift, empty store after. Closing, Elliot dimmed the lights, retrieved the handless clock, and set it on the sales counter. He stared into its blank face until the silence spoke louder than any chime. Then he reached into his suit pocket, pulled out DJ's haiku. Keanu had slipped it to him on a folded note, and taped it inside the display case beneath the clock. Judgment is a doorman turning pockets inside out, but kindness is the key nobody checks. Elliot exhaled. Something new ticked and seen, but powerful, a different kind of time. 9. DJ's new world spent that night at a modest motel Keanu had quietly covered a month's stay. He lay on crisp sheets, wrist heavy with platinum, tears drying into a grin. He scribbled a final verse before sleep. A watch with a heartbeat finds a pulse in broken streets. Dawn learns my first name for the first time in years. DJ set an alarm, not to beat hunger or cold, but simply to wake and watch the hands move. Proof that he was still part of the grand mechanism. 10. To be continued somewhere in LA. Keanu sent one last text to an unknown contact. Phase 1 complete. Let's build the shelter. Elliot, sleepless in his apartment, drafted his resignation, then paused. Maybe staying inside the system was the better rebellion. He deleted the file and instead outlined a proposal. Horology House outreach program. Tomorrow he'd pitch it, or be fired trying. And DJ, veteran poet, set his new watch on the nightstand beside a battered military photo. We made it, boys. He whispered to the picture, right on time. Part 3, the unexpected meeting, will pick up at sunrise, when these three men's paths intertwine again under the ticking promise of change. Dawn at the bus stop Café Los Angeles blushes before it wakes, and today its sky was the embarrassed pink of a city that knew it owed someone an apology. Keanu Reeves was already up, hoodie traded for a plain gray t-shirt and a ball cap that said "Be kind." He waited outside a nondescript diner called the Bus Stop Cafe, half a mile from Horology House, but a universe away in vibe. Inside, chipped, mugs served coffee that tasted like second chances, and the jukebox was permanently stuck on Sam Cooke songs nobody wanted to fix. A perfect place, Keanu decided, to start writing a new chapter. He scanned the street. 2 men were supposed to join him. Elliot Pierce, assistant manager turned viral cautionary tale. Darius DJ Jameson, Gulf War vet, sidewalk poet, reluctant new owner of a platinum chronograph. They didn't know they'd be meeting each other yet. To Elliot's longest walk, Elliot hadn't slept. After taping DJ's haiku under the handless clock, he drafted 30 emails, 1 to HR apology, 1 to corporate proposal, and 28 to veterans organizations partnership plea. He sent exactly 0. Fear pressed. Save. Draft every time. At sunrise he put on his leased salesman clothes, a soft flannel and worn jeans he hadn't dared wear since training week. Walking to the cafe, he rehearsed lines. Good morning, Mr. Reeves. Thank you for not destroying my career. Mr. Jameson, I'm sorry. Teach me how to see people, not profiles. None sounded right, so he kept walking, a man without a script. 3 DJ, and the broken meter woke in the motel bed Keanu had paid for. Staring at the watch on his wrist, he'd set the alarm for 5 a.m., not because he had somewhere to be, but because he still couldn't believe the hour hand would obey him. As it buzzed, he laughed, silencing it with fingers trembling from more gratitude than caffeine. He pocketed his notebook, put on his best-only button-down, and limped toward the bus stop cafe. Halfway there, his cane struck a busted parking meter that blinked expired. DJ tapped its steel shell twice and murmured, "We all run out eventually, buddy. Keep standing anyway." Then he kept going. For collision course 8:01 a.m. Keanu took the corner booth. A waitress named Shelley All, neon eyeliner and encyclopedic gossip poured him bottomless coffee. When she recognized his face, she just winked. "Your secret's safe with me until my break," she said. Wink number two suggested my break meant TikTok in 30 seconds. But Keanu trusted the universe. A bell tinkled. Elliot stepped in, froze at the sight of Keanu, glanced right and almost collided with DJ, who had just hobbled through the door behind him. Shelley lifted 3 menus. "You boys together." Keanu rose, smiling. "We are now." 5 awkward triagethi slid into the booth. Keanu center, DJ left. Elliot right like fate's idea of a punchline. For a minute, no one spoke. The jukebox crooned its bin. A long, long time. Elliot cleared his throat. "Mr. Jameson." DJ raised a hand. "First name's DJ. And if you say sorry before pancakes, I might cry in the syrup." Elliot blinked. "Deal." Keanu grinned. 2 stacks, Shelley. "And whatever your best apology beverage is." Shelley scribbled apology bev and shrugged. "Probably hot chocolate with extra marshmallows." DJ laughed a sound like gravel turning into jazz. The ice shattered. 6 blueprints on napkin Spanx landed. Marshmallows melted. Conversation turned real. DJ's story. A Louisiana childhood. Desert storms literal and figurative. PTSD nights. Poetry mornings. The VA wait lists that outlasted hope. Elliot's confession. An immigrant mom who cleaned office bathrooms so he could wear the suit he now hated. A father lost to hospital bills. The day he traded empathy for commission like Judas flipped silver. Keanu's proposal. Let's build a place where nobody gets turned away for a stupid reason, cane hoodie, or empty wallet. Elliot frowned. A soup kitchen, a time kitchen. Keanu said, eyes alight. Food, showers, lockers, but also job coaching, mental health, services, and a watch repair workshop taught by retired horologists. Symbolic and practical, fixing lives while we fix timepieces. DJ whistled. Call it the second hand. Shelley slammed her order pad theatrically. If you don't trademark that, I'm doing it on my smoke break. They laughed. Hands started sketching floor plans on napkins. Reception shaped like a watch dial. Therapy rooms named hour, minute, second. A rooftop garden called the tick. Keanu texted a producer friend. Need vacant building near downtown. Vision attached napkin photo. 5 minutes later. Done. 30K square FT old post office. $1 lease. Because it's you. 7. Corporate. Thunder clouds at 9:30 a.m. Elliot's phone vibrated off the table. Horology House HQ. He breathed in courage and answered. Mr. Pierce. Viral sentiment is 72% positive, but shareholder risk is non-trivial. Droned the VP of Brand Integrity. Damage control requires a formal video apology tonight. Elliot looked at DJ. The platinum watch. Keanu's scribbled dream. The marshmallows bobbing like lifeboats. Something old inside him cracked. With respect, he said, I'm busy repairing something more valuable than brand sentiment. He hung up, shocked at himself. He exhaled and the booth erupted in cheers. Even Shelley clapped from the soda fountain. 8. The producer, the prince, and the poet. Be noon. The cafe looked like mission control. Harper Cruz, now director of storytelling, raced in with a DSLR and a ring light. Minna, the rival store associate, who'd sold Keanu the watch, arrived on her lunch break, volunteering future staff for the second hand. A TikTok influencer named Prince J98 livestreamed DJ reciting haiku. 2.1 million viewers sent heart emojis shaped like tiny watches. Under the tidal wave of help, Elliot turned to DJ. I know nothing about social work, but I can fundraise, file permits, train staff. DJ grinned. You learn poetry too. Every client writes one before they leave their timestamp. Keanu's eyes gleamed. And we frame the best ones in the lobby. 9. The setback. Nobody expected at 2 p.m. Harper's phone buzzed. Breaking City Council to vote on Ordinance 87B placing new limits on homeless service centers downtown. Hidden clause, 1,000-foot buffer from luxury retailers. Guess who lobbied? Their least. Post office fell inside the exclusion zone. Elliot swore. DJ clenched his jaw. Keanu looked calm, but dangerous, like a moonlit tide. We have 48 hours to change that vote, Harper said. Then we bring the council here, Keanu replied, or we bring the city to the council. DJ tapped the watch. Time's ticking. 10. Capri Suns and Battle Plan Savining. They relocated to a community rec center, where local teens were practicing basketball. Keanu bought everyone pizza and Capri Suns. Tables became war rooms. Elliot phoned every veterans group he'd emailed but never sent. His sincerity cracked doors wide. Harper cut a 60-second viral video titled Let Time Help featuring DJ's poem and Elliot's confession. Hashtag secondhand shelter began trending. Prince J98 organized a rally outside City Hall. DJ watched, misty-eyed. Never thought a busted poet could headline a revolution. Keanu patted his shoulder. You're not busted, you're the metronome. 11 midnight on the rooftopest midnight. Elliot found DJ alone on the rec center roof. City lights blinking Morse code. Can't sleep, Elliot asked. DJ laughed. Haven't slept easy in decades. He gazed at the watch face. You know what scares me? I finally have something precious again. Afraid I'll break it or lose it to thieves. Elliot shook his head. A thief can't steal time given freely. And if it ever needs servicing, lifetime warranty. Remember, DJ smiled, really smiled, full teeth. No apology. Look at us. Watch puns at 1 a.m. The world really is turning. Below, the city kept humming, oblivious that 3 unlikely men had just reset its clock. 12. To be continued somewhere. A corporate VP drafted Elliot's termination paperwork. Somewhere, a lobbyist polished talking points against Ordinance 87B. And somewhere, in an abandoned post office bathed in moonlight, a janitor unlocked the door for the first time in years. Because Keanu had prepaid the deposit. Flashback. The sand between seconds. Night in Iraq smelled like diesel, dust, and the metal tang of maybe. On March 14, 1991, Sergeant Dryas DJ Jameson crouched behind a half-crumbled wall outside Basra, waiting for evac that never came. A watch. On his wrist a cheap PX digital beep to 17. Batteries dying. Men, 2 incoming shells painted the sky a color DJ would later call hollow orange. He pressed both palms over the watch to muffle the beep. Enemy scouts loved stray sounds. That night, Corporal Henry Vale, DJ's best friend since boot, looked over and said, "If we get out, buy you a platinum Rolex." DJ snorted. "If we get out, buy me time that doesn't explode." Minutes later, Vale stood, waving a chem light to signal evac. A mortar found the light before the chopper's spotlight did. Time went silent. For 3 decades DJ wouldn't wear a watch again. Until yesterday. To morning. Present day. City Hall steps and rise. The color of forgiveness rose behind Los Angeles Spanish Deco City Hall. Reporters clustered like sparrows on espresso. Protesters unfurled banners. Time heals. Let the second hand tick. DJ stood near the podium, fingers brushing the platinum chronograph. He'd spent the small hours practicing breathing with a VA therapist. Keanu had conjured by phone at 3 a.m. Now he exhaled the dessert out, inhaled Los Angeles in. Beside him, Keanu smiled, that steady smile that turned chaos into mission. Elliot, hair ungelled for once, clutched manila folders labeled budget, zoning, press kit, poetry. Harper Cruise hit go live. Viewers ping from Manila, Manchester, Mumbai. 3. The speech that wasn't in the script. Council chambers allowed 1 3-minute statement. Elliot had printed bullet points. Keanu suggested key phrases. DJ walked to the mic and ignored both. Council members, he began, voice low, but carrying, "I don't talk smooth." War rattled my words like dice. He tapped the watch. "This thing ain't just gears. It's a promise that my minutes matter again." He described Basra. Vale's chem light slicing dawn. the sound a plastic watch can make before everything ends. He told them how the VA backlog measured at 19 months. How sidewalk nights measured by how long toes stayed numb. I ain't asking to park a yacht, just to park hope in an old post office. 3 minutes burned up. The sergeant in him saluted the red time light on the lectern. He stepped back. Chamber silence cracked into applause, then gavel bangs from the chairwoman. 4 lobbyists, limousines and leverage-behind marble pillars. Men in cufflinks whispered. Retail Consortium Rep Wesley Klein typed frantic texts. Vet Guild High Pivot. To safety, loiter narrative. A glossy dossier slid into each council member's hand. Stock photos of transient encampments. Property value graphs nosediving. Keanu intercepted one copy. Raised an eyebrow. This photo's from Vancouver. He showed the EXIF data to a local reporter. Scandal tweets sprouted before Klein's PR team could refresh. 5. The motion, the margin. The miracle vote called. Approve Ordinance 87B, the buffer ban, or reject. 7 shares. For I seemed locked. Roll began. To 0 in favor. Hearts sinking. Then Councilwoman Lydia Chokorian, war orphan raised by a granddad who mended clocks, glanced at DJ's watch, touched her own locket, and said nay. Gasps to -1. Councilman Marcus Villalpando, vet of Afghanistan, had watched DJ all morning. He murmured nay, tied to 2. One more eye. 3-2. Edge of loss. Last swing vote. Chairwoman Adela Ramos, known centrist, law and order first. She studied Klein's dossier, then DJ's trembling hand on the rail. She closed her eyes. Ordinance fails. 3-4. Pandemonium. Reporters sprinted. Shelley, the waitress, live streaming on break, screamed somewhere in the rotunda. The second hand is alive. Elliot hugged DJ so hard the chronograph dug a crescent into his ribs. DJ laughed and didn't flinch. Pain meant breathing. 6. A quiet corner. A loud memorial away from cameras. DJ sat on a bench beneath Hugo Ballin's mural of righteous angels. Keanu approached with 2 cups of hot chocolate apology beverage to .0. You saved the post office. Keanu said that. DJ shook his head. Corporal Vale saved it. I just carried his light. Tears slipped. He let them. All these years I thought. Survivor's guilt was my badge. Maybe the badge was the story. Keanu put a hand on his shoulder. Elliot joined, holding a stamped contract. City lease finalized. The logo. DJ doodled a second hand shaped like a saluting arm, now a top official. Stationary. DJ exhaled. Time to go home and get a post office. 7. Montage. Hammer. Paint. Healing 2 week whirlwind. Retired carpenters in Vietnam, vet ball caps, ripped rotten drywall. Joked about Agent Orange versus mold. TikTok teens painted a 40-foot mural of gears morphing into open palms. Elliot negotiated. Surplus lockers from Lax, turning luggage history into secure storage. Gladys B. orchestrated listening lounges with rocking chairs and endless tea. A Swiss watch brand donated 50 toolkits. DJ taught the first class how to regulate a beat-up Seiko. A 6-year-old volunteer said, "It's like heart surgery for gadgets." DJ cried again. Keanu funded a meditation room nicknamed Neo's Dojo. He never explained. Just winked, ate the panic attack, and the promisee opening day loomed. DJ's nightmares returned. Chemlight, orange sky, during a final safety walkthrough. He froze, hearing phantom mortar whine. Keanu found him hyperventilating in the storage bay. "It's the color," DJ gasped, staring at a loading dock floodlight, hollow orange. Without a word, Keanu swapped the bulb for a soft blue one. The panic ebbed. "Triggers are sneaky," Keanu said. "We'll chase them down together." DJ nodded. Gripping his watch, "I can do this." Second hand keeps moving. 9. Ribbon-cut morning reporters. Donors, skeptics, all gathered under a banner reading the second hand where every minute matters. Chairwoman Ramos held the ribbon. Councilwoman Cho brandished comically huge scissors. Elliot, suit replaced by embroidered staff vest, introduced DJ as our chief timekeeper. DJ read a haiku. Gears find missing teeth when hands learn to turn again. Welcome. Broken clocks. He cut the ribbon. Applause thundered. First clients entered. An elderly couple evicted after medical bills. A runaway teen. 3 Gulf War vets DJ recognized by posture alone. Inside, sunlight bounced off 100 donated watches ticking in sync, synced to a master clock above reception. For once, the ticking sounded less like countdown, more like chorus. 10. Corporate curveball 3 days into operation. Horology House HQ sent Elliot a letter, return to work, or face litigation for breach of non-compete. The second hand dilutes. Luxury aura. Elliot photocopied it, taped it to the staff fridge, and wrote in Sharpie under the logo, "Time shares back." Volunteers drew hearts on it until the threat looked like kindergarten art. DJ suggested turning the letter into origami cranes to gift new clients. Paper therapy. Elliot agreed. 11. Vale's sisterlit evening. DJ scrubbed paint off calloused knuckles when a visitor stepped in. Amira Vale, sister of Corporal Henry. She'd seen the viral council speech. She held a showbox inside. Henry's dog tags, a diary, and the busted chem light faded but intact. He would have wanted you to have these. DJ's knees buckled. Keanu and Elliot flanked him. He clutched the chem light, tears carving tributaries down paint-spattered cheeks. "Henry's light got me here," he whispered. "Now it'll guide others." They mounted the chem light in the lobby under plexiglass. It glowed pale green. When the lights dimmed each night, an eternal exit sign from despair. 12. To be continuity politics conceded. Community rallied. But corporate claws aren't dull, and PTSD doesn't read ribbon cuttings. Part 5. A second chance will test the shelter's first month. A break-in, a boardroom showdown, and Elliot's mother's surprise arrival. Stay tuned. The second hand's just getting started. Ticking into storm weather, it had been 18 days since the second hand officially opened its doors. 18 days of full plates, folded blankets, whispered therapy, quiet laughter, and the hum of gears being realigned on wrists and in hearts. 18 days of whispered miracles. But like any good clock, when one gear slips, the whole thing can lurch. And on day 19, the lurch came not from politics, not from donors, but from within. 2. The break-in that wasn't it was to 47 a.m. when the security system chirped a soft breach alert. Elliot on site overnight as acting operations lead jolted awake. In his tiny bunk room behind the meditation space. The cameras showed a figure inside the workshop. No broken windows, no forced locks, but someone was definitely there. And then, something weirder. The figure was repairing something. Elliot, barefoot but adrenaline charged, slipped down the hallway, heart hammering like a stopwatch dropped on marble. He creaked the door open and saw a boy, 16, maybe, skinny, hoodie, 3 sizes too big. He had a busted Casio calculator watch spread out on the repair bench. Next to him, one of the donated Swiss kits. "Hey," Elliot said, "this area's off limits without." "I wasn't stealing," the kid said, eyes wide. I wanted to fix my dad's watch." Elliot paused, blinked, looked closer. The kid was missing 2 front teeth. His shoelaces were zip ties, but his hands steady, patient, focused. "I saw the flyers," the boy whispered. "I sleep behind the supermarket. I just wanted it to work again." Elliot's voice dropped. "What's your name?" "Rico." Elliot stared at the kid for a moment that felt like a pendulum refusing to swing, then nodded. Double quotes. "Okay, Rico. Tomorrow morning, I'm signing you up for the watch repair workshop. But tonight, let's finish this one together." 3 ghosts in the hallway. Next day, Keanu arrived early, balancing 2 coffees and a manila envelope labeled confidential. He found Elliot sitting on the floor in the hallway outside the workshop, staring at the ceiling like it had answers. "You look like you spent the night in a time warp," Keanu said, passing him coffee. Elliot explained about Rico, the busted Casio, the sheer concentration in a kid who had nothing except, apparently, a passion for circuits and ticking things. Keanu just smiled. "You didn't catch a thief," he said. "You caught a second chance." He handed Elliot the envelope. "What's this?" Elliot asked. "Read it," Keanu said. "Just don't read it alone. For the corporate dead, you're inside the envelope. A cease and desist from Horology House Corporate. A detailed claim that Elliot had breached intellectual property ethics by offering watch repair classes using techniques and language trademarked under internal training modules. A warning: failure to cease and terminate public education offerings will result in escalated legal action. Hand signed by the chief legal officer, who had once mentored Elliot. Elliot didn't cry, but something in him cracked sideways, like a gear sheared at the teeth. He laughed, short, hollow. "They're suing me for teaching a homeless kid how to fix a Casio," he muttered. "They're suing you because they can't trademark kindness," Keanu replied. 5. Rico's first repair that afternoon. DJ gave Rico his first official badge, a patch that said apprentice horologist, sewn by hand, designed by a Gulf War vet named Patrice who ran the sewing circle. In the day room. Rico fixed 3 more watches that day. At dinner, when asked what he wanted most in life, he simply said, "To fix things." Like anything that ticks, Elliot looked across the table. Keanu's eyes were damp. DJ raised his fork in a silent toast. 6. A mother's Erevolf next morning. The elevator pinged and out stepped Elliot's mother, flanked by to church ladies, a tray of empanadas, and a look that could freeze debt collectors. "Mi hijo," she said in Spanish. "You quit a 6-figure job to build watch shelters." He stiffened. "Ma, please don't embarrass me in front of the staff." But she wasn't scolding. She was crying. "I cleaned toilets for 20 years," she whispered. "I never understood why God made my hands so tired. Today I see why." She embraced Elliot tighter than he'd felt since he was 10. Then she pointed to the kitchen. "I'm cooking breakfast for everyone tomorrow." Nobody argued. Not a soul did. 7. The confrontation at the Galatwo. Nights later, Elliot, DJ, and Keanu attended a watch industry gala under pressure from donors. They wore matching black suits with tiny second-hand lapel pins. Rico ironed them himself. Halfway through the evening, Elliot locked eyes with Marcus Wallen, CEO of Horology House. Wallen smirked. "Still playing Robin Hood, Elliot?" Elliot returned the smirk. "Still afraid of the people you used to step on?" Wallen leaned in. "Take this deal," he said, slipping a gold-foiled contract into Elliot's pocket. "Shut it all down, come back. We'll erase the lawsuit, put you in a senior role. NYC flagship." Elliot didn't even read it. He folded it into an origami crane, handed it to DJ, and DJ placed it in a glass case at the second hand beside Rico's Casio. 8. The wall of names came up with the idea. A hallway, white, calm, clean, on it. No ads, no slogans, just names. First names of every guest who'd ever come through the doors. A single rule: you are never reduced to a statistic again. Names only. Some drawn in Sharpie, others painted by kids. One was embroidered. One was tattooed by a former client who became the building's night janitor. Rico's name, right under veil, in blue, slightly crooked, on purpose. 9. Storm clouds don't scare clocks. Lawsuit didn't go away. Wallen upped the stakes. National media picked it up. But what happened next? A miracle of motion. The Chronopulse rival boutique offered to fund legal defense. Veteran groups sent testimonies. TikTok teens wrote a musical. And Shelley the waitress launched a crowdfunding campaign titled, "We Got Time." It raised $1.3 million in 5 days. Wallen's bored? Mortified. Elliot's reply was a tweet. "Luxury isn't limited edition. It's showing up, every day, for people who've been told they're too late." 10. The clock that stopped, then started again. Opening night of the musical. DJ sat in the front row beside Rico, now wearing his 3rd badge, assistant instructor. Before the lights dimmed, a courier arrived with a box. Inside, Vale's watch. Restored. No note, just a sticky tab with "Return to time." KDJ held it for a long time, pressed it to his heart. "Think we're right on time," Rico whispered. DJ smiled. "Time doesn't just pass, kid. It waits for moments like this." 11. To be continued. The lawsuit remains. The shelter grows. And one man. DJ watches every tick like it's a prayer. The watchmaker who never left here was a myth never confirmed. Never denied that Keanu Reeves kept only one true luxury item in his home. A single handcrafted watch made not by Rolex, Omega, or Patek, but by a nameless watchmaker from Kyoto who only built pieces for people who needed them. Not those who could afford them. The rumor, the watch had no numbers, only one hand, and it didn't tick. It pulsed like a heartbeat. It was called the moment, and no one had ever seen it. Until now or two. Rico's graduation date. Well, months after Rico's almost break-in, he stood at the front of the second-hands auditorium, holding a tiny golden screwdriver like it was a diploma. His Casio, restored. His new project, a fully skeletonized ETA movement, finely tuned, balanced, gorgeous. DJ cried when he saw it. Again, Elliot had designed a graduation badge just for him. Master of Minutes, hand-stitched by Gladys and Shelley. After hours, you're a teacher. Now, DJ told Rico. Me, the boy gasped. You, Keanu said, and teachers, pass down time. 3. The girl with the stopwatch heart. Next guest was Alia, 12, nonverbal, trauma survivor, and a client who hadn't spoken since arriving at the shelter with her older brother. But she'd fallen in love with the tick room, as she called the workshop, especially one broken stopwatch with a crack down the crystal like a lightning scar. Rico had taken it apart, cleaned it, reassembled it, and left the crack, on purpose, because, he said, it still works. One morning, Alia took a marker and wrote on the wall, I do too. Her brother framed it. Keanu called it the shelter's true mission statement. For Elliot's choiceth. Lawsuit was scheduled for arbitration. Elliot had a choice: return to Horology House, become VP of Public Relations, shut down the second-hands repair training, fight and potentially lose everything. One morning, Elliot stood in the center of the tick room. Watches clicked in dozens of different rhythms. Then he pulled the old, handless display clock off the wall, the one that once symbolized failure. He brought it to the bench, and with Rico's help, installed the new hands, ready to go back to work. Rico asked. I'm already there, Elliot said. He missed his arbitration appointment on purpose. 5. DJ's diagnosis hadn't been feeling right. The watchmaker clinic at the second hand included a basic health unit now staffed by rotating RNs. The scans came back in silence. Pancreatic, stage III. DJ cracked. No jokes, no poems, just nodded and smiled. God's time, he said, right on schedule. Keanu was the first to hear the news. Elliot was the second. Rico was the third. He cried the longest. 6. The final repair. Just one thing. Let me repair. One last watch, one that matters. Keanu disappeared for 2 days. Then he returned with a velvet-wrapped bundle. Inside. The moment, the myth, the single-hand watch. No numbers, no tick. I want it to go to someone. Keanu said. But first, it's yours. Fix it. Or let it fix you. DJ worked in silence 3 nights. No distractions. He didn't fix the watch. He rewound it, cleaned the crystal, engraved the inside case back. You were always right on time. DJ 7. The gift. Last day of spring. The community gathered in the garden rooftop. The tick. String lights above. Folding chairs below. DJ wore his cleanest shirt. Elliot wore his patched vest. Rico wore a tie sideways. Keanu stood beside DJ. In front of them stood Alia. She still rarely spoke, but that day, she held out her wrist. DJ took the moment, wrapped it gently. Fastened it to her wrist. The second it clicked, the crowd held its breath. Then Alia said her first full sentence in over a year. I remember how to begin. 8. The time capsule. Leaf to the ceremony. Rico found a hidden drawer in the repair desk DJ used. Inside, a photograph of Corporal Vale. A haiku handwritten on the back. Time forgives us all in the quiet between ticks, if we dare to stop. And a note, leave this shelter better than I left war. Keep building. DJ 9. The moment kept going. Past 1 week later, in his sleep, peaceful. A small box arrived at the shelter days after. No return address. Inside. Another moment. Watch. Identical. Rico placed it in the lobby's time case. But he didn't wind it. He left it still. Some clocks, he said, don't have to move to prove they matter. 10. The second hand to Ditwo. Years later, Rico leads workshops across 5 cities. Elliot teaches kids how to disassemble toy clocks. Elliot published a memoir, Time Served, From Sales Floor to Shelter Door. The second hand became a non-profit with a single mission, to return time to those who've had it stolen. And every spring, they gather at the rooftop. They pass around DJ's final haiku. They recite it in 3 languages. They wind the moment, then let it tick freely once, for exactly 1 hour. Then stop it again, because it's not the hours you track, it's the ones you share.